But now I'm going to introduce our guests for this evening, James and Karla Murray. This is becoming an October institution for us, the third year in a row to have them here. They are a husband and wife architectural and interior photographers, multimedia artists based here in New York City. With over 25 years, they have focused their lens on the streetscape through portraits of storefronts and shop owners, and strive to capture moments of city life that often go undocumented, but capture the spirit, energy, cultural diversity of individual neighborhoods. They made it their mission to thoroughly document unique mom and pop shops when they began to notice the alarming rate at which the shops were disappearing. And here is the trilogy of books that they have done a program with, but we are going to be focusing on that one right in the middle there. So I will hand it over here to Karla and James to build a second to set their camera up.
Yes.
And away we go.
So, first of all, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Karla Murray.
I'm James.
And together, we've been documenting mom and pop, what I like to call the mom and pop businesses, small businesses of New York City for like over 25 years now. And our love for vinyl, though, goes back like way, way, way further, really to our childhoods, because both James and I are, we grew up listening to vinyl, like that was the medium. Of course, there was a radio, but if you wanted to listen other than the radio, you had to play a vinyl record. So vinyl records, as far as us shopping at small little mom and pop stores, that's what we did. And as kids, really, it was mostly 45s. Because James and I grew up, of modest means, and buying like a whole album was really an extravagant purchase for us at the time. So I guess I definitely had a big 45 collection. Yeah. And what about you, James?
I still have the very first album I bought. 1978, Bruce Springsteen, Darkness on the Edge of Town. I got it the day it came out. Still have it. Still follow Bruce to this day, still collect them, but we have like many, many genres we concentrate.
And although we witnessed firsthand that many vinyl record stores, like the little indie shops, closed like in the late 1990s and early 2000s, it was really like due to the ever-increasing rents, plus coupled with the fact that vinyl just became like less popular as a medium. That's CDs, and then of course, streaming, further like
before
was.
Before that, cassettes.
Right, but I mean, it just was not the heyday for vinyl records, and a lot of shops struggled. We remember, and I don't know how many of you guys live in the neighborhood, but we used to go to Bleecker Bob's, Bleecker Street Records, Rebel.
Second Coming.
Let's see, if we go back even further, Rocks in Your Head. There was a lot of great shops that sadly, closed, but
Sounds on St. Mark's.
that's true, that too. I mean, you name it, there was so many more stores. But in recent years, there's been a resurgence of vinyl, and we were really, really happy to see that. Like, it just energized us, and we're like, okay, yes, vinyl is back, and it just lit us like a little, I guess a light bulb went off in our head that, okay, well, we've been documenting these small shops, but let's go like a step further and really put our concentration, and efforts into them. Because for us, a vinyl record store, just like we documented in our books, Storefront NYC, which documents all kinds of mom and pop stores in all 5 boroughs. But we have a book, Great Bars in New York City, that we were able to do a book talk last year with Village Preservation. So thanks again, GVSHP, for the support. And we concentrated for the first time not only for a singular focus of a type of store, in this case it was the bars, but we also included our interior photography, because in the past we just concentrated on photographing the storefront. So that's why the first book, Storefront NYC, it's just exterior photography of the facades, because we fell in love with the signage and just the windows displays. But we took it a step further. We went inside with the Great Bars project, because to us, bars, similar to vinyl record stores, they're not just a place to drink at, but they're a gathering spot. And vinyl record stores are definitely the same way. I mean, a lot of them to us, they act as like community centers, a place to, like a home away from home, a place to forget your worries. You know, could be at a bar that you forget your worries, but you also forget your worries about when you go into a vinyl record store and you're just concentrating on the music. So it was like really, we just said, let's just start documenting these, and not only the exterior as we had done in the past, but similar to the great bars, go inside and really showcase like which each one looks like inside, what they're about, like each one, whether they have a specialty. Does this one concentrate on a special type of music or a special type of record? Is it used records, new records, whatever the case may be, you'll find it inside our book. And we decided early on in the project, because we had done the great bars of New York City, yeah, you can go to the next slide.
Oh, that's wrong.
It's this way. You got it? Okay, perfect. That for our great bars of New York City book, the subtitle was 30 of Manhattan's favorite story drinking establishment. So because it was like the same size book, you know, similar to what we call trim size, which is like the dimensions, you know, height, width of the size of the book. We said, well, we know we can probably fit around 30 record stores because that's how many we fit in for our Great Bars book. And I said early on, I said, well, wouldn't it be fun to include 33 1/3 places? Because if you know, if you're a vinyl collector or ever listen to a vinyl record, 33 1/3 is the RPM, revolutions per minute, for a standard like long play, an LP, an album. I mean, some 12 inches too, some are 45s, but 33 1/3 is that standard, you know, revolution. So we said, oh, that sounds great, but what's going to be the 1/3? Like, are we going to say, pick a really small shop and then call that our third? But I was just like, no, that doesn't seem right, because a small shop is just as deserving as a really large shop that has a cavernous space. So I had the idea, and this is one of the ones that we'll talk about, is that our 1/3 will be in the annex store. And in this case, we included Academy Records, which is in the East Village, and annex shop, which is in Brooklyn. So that was our like little 33 1/3. So now we're going to start talking about the East Village and Greenwich Village shops that we documented, because our book is all 5 boroughs. We included both long-standing historic establishments as well as new shops and everything in between. But today we're going to concentrate on the East Village and Greenwich Village, because that's what village preservation is all about, is helping preserve the character of this fascinating and beautiful neighborhood that we are proudly call home, the East Village, but we are just as in love with the Greenwich Village, West Village, however you want to call and break it up. And there's actually 8 stores, so out of the 33 1/3 that are in our book, 8 of them are in the East Village and Greenwich Village. So yeah, I mean, a good portion of them. So let's go to the first spot, and that is A1 Record Shop. And as you see from James' shirt, he's got the A1 proudly representing. They're located on East 6th Street, and they're between First Avenue and Avenue A, but closer to Avenue A. The number is 439. You can see it on the exterior photograph right there. And it was founded in 1996 by Isaac Cosman. And he is a veteran record collector. In fact, I don't know if you guys remember, he used to have sell records with the Chelsea Flea Market a long time ago before setting up a store. But he has an amazing collection of music. And we love the outside of the shop because it's got all the little stickers covering the window, and every day, rain or shine, because they have that awning, they have their dollar bins. So it's like usually now the price is up to like $2 and up, but you see they have the crates where you can dig for vinyl, because James and I above anything, as vinyl collectors, we're crate diggers. We are always on, like, it's all about finding that black gold.
Yeah, thrill of the hunt.
Yes, definitely the thrill of the hunt. And we love sifting through the $1, $2 bins, whatever the price is. We'll get down and dirty and dusty, and we don't mind. We like looking for that hidden treasure. Other people might not, that might not be their thing at all. They might only want to collect new records or very valuable rare titles, and the condition of the record would be very important to them. For us, we want the record to be playable, but the condition of the outside, like the jacket, isn't as quite as important to us. So A1, well-known shop, among veteran record collectors, producers, DJs, you name it, they've shopped and probably know about A1 Records. Now if you go to the inside, this shop is amazing because it's covered from floor to ceiling, as you can see, with vinyl. And all the photos that we took in our book were taken in 2024, the interior photos. I think there's a couple of cases where we used an exterior photograph from earlier in time just because there might have been scaffolding or something like obstructing the storefront at the time, so it made sense to use an older photograph, but it still looks the same, like you wouldn't not notice it from the photo. But they were all taken in 2024 because we wanted to document and highlight small businesses that you could still go to and help support today. Because the whole purpose really of the book is to give back to the vinyl community that has meant so much to us over the years. And A1 is, because we live in the East Village, this is one of the spots that we go to probably a little too often, on a weekly basis. And they have an amazing selection of only secondhand or reissued releases. So it's not new vinyl records here. It's all these secondhand, some people like to call it used, but it's secondhand. It can be new in that it's sealed, but it belonged to somebody else. So they're not buying right from the labels themselves. They're getting it secondhand. And everything's super, super well organized. Not only is there hip hop, jazz, punk, rock, dance, electronic, you name it, they've got it at A1. And super well organized. You can see all the handwritten dividers, and they'll do it by artists, alphabetically, and then genre, and also there'll be labels for I think in the back they have a lot of the dance music. Instead of just breaking it down into different categories, they'll say, okay, this is by
King Street
Nervous Records or something like that. They'll just put it into the category of if you're really into that kind of music, you'll know a certain label has a certain sound and different artists associated with them. But the store is super, super well organized and really great staff, very, very knowledgeable about music. And there's a decks in the back. They're always playing music when you go in, and they have listening stations as well. There's one you can see. It's right there, and then there's another one. It's not. It's kind of cropped out of this, but it's another one over here, and then two more over there. So there's plenty of listening stations so you can listen to the vinyl. They don't really like you to crowd up the listening stations listening to the dollar bin stuff, but the stuff that you find, when you're paying only $1, you take your chances and you're just okay, I guess it's good enough, and
You can tell.
yeah, if you know, you can hold it up and you look if it's good condition or not. But amazing, amazing, amazing shop, and we can't recommend, if you haven't been there, to go check it out. It's well worth the journey, and even if you're not living in the East Village, to make the trek to Avenue A to check it out. So next door, now we're moving into Greenwich Village, and you see I'm representing the shirt. We have a little tradition, James and I, when we're not actually buying something from the store that we go to, whether it's a food place, we at least support them by buying a t-shirt. So yeah, I don't think any of the record stores can say that we haven't supported them by actually buying a vinyl record, but we went above and beyond and got some shirts too. So I'm repping Generation Records. Now this is an amazing shop as well. And you might know it if you're especially into punk or hardcore, because that is what they're known for. It's wide, but it's deceivingly bigger than it is, because it's actually the only store in New York City that's 2 floors and sells not only new vinyl records, but secondhand used vinyl, cassettes, CDs, tapes. I think they have tapes for like less than $1, some cassettes. Books, music memorabilia, posters, t-shirts, pins, I mean, you name it, they've got it inside Generation Records. And it was founded by Chris Dunnigan, but the principal partner now is Mark Yoshitomi. And Mark Yoshitomi can be found most days at the store. In fact, in our book we have more interior photos. We're just showing you today like a smattering of the photos. We're not showing you every single photo that's in the book. Each record store gets at least a couple of pages, but Mark Yoshitomi, there's a photo of him in the book as well. He was the bassist, former bassist for the Casualties and the Craze. So his love for vinyl record collecting and punk music in general goes way back to like his teenage years. And what a knowledgeable guy that has an amazing personal collection and helps like curate the store. I can tell you that when we went in there to take these photos in 2024, he had a Misfits album, and on a photo of it's in the book. Like along the walls is usually what we call like the Wall of Fame. Those are your rare or your hard to find, your pricier titles. They could be used and like secondhand, like not in a sealed plastic. But they could be played, but they're still usually in very, very, very good condition because they're going to be expensive. And there was a Misfits for $4,500 an album up on the wall. And when we went back like a few months later, it was gone. So somebody bought it. I mean, that's not, like you might say, oh my God, that's absurd, but it's not an absurd price for these very rare collectible titles. So you'll find them here. Now, don't get confused, this is not Bleecker Street Records. Bleecker Street Records closed, but in the community of vinyl record stores, they generally know each other, and they all help support one another. When Bleecker Street Records closed, they took the overhanging sign that was hanging on Bleecker Street down, and they saved it, and they brought it over to Generation Records. So it always puts a smile on our face to see that, and just shows the love like that the community has for one another. So definitely go to Generation Records and check them out and tell Mark we said hi. Next slide. This is back in the East Village. Now, this to us is one of the hidden gems that I like to call it of the East Village. And it's called Manhattan 45. And you wouldn't know, like walking down this side street, because it's on East 10th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue, that it's even a vinyl record store, because it's a very subdued storefront. And it's located in the ground floor of a tenement building. And you see Manhattan 45 just written on the door. But if you perk your ears up, you'll hear boom, 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 like the thump of the bass coming from inside the store. It's the only store in New York City that sells only new vinyl dance electronic music. So electronic dance music is what you'll find in here. And what I mean by electronic dance music, if you're not familiar, there's different like categories. Yeah, so that's the whole storefront. Within the electronic dance music, there's disco, there's house, there's jungle, drum and bass, but they all like fall into the larger category of electronic dance music. And if you go to the next slide, it was founded in 2020 by Richard Guadagno. That's Richard right there in the back. He curates the store and personally, like, listens to, and you can see him there examining something that I guess had just came in. He has 2 turntables there in the back. He listens to it and he selects what's going to be in his shop. It's highly, highly organized, super neat and beautiful. I don't know if you can really tell, but in the book you can. There's vinyl dividers. They're like gray vinyl, and they're all labeled meticulously with a vintage Dymo label maker. Does anybody in the audience?
Yeah, remember it's like a little gun?
Yeah,
It has a
remember what
round
the
wheel,
Dymo?
and
Yeah.
you set the letters.
It would like emboss like onto a little strip of plastic the letter. So you would like put the dial, kind of like, you know, like you dial like a phone. Like, if you're old enough to be like me and James, that, you know, we grew up and we actually had to, you know, use our fingers and, right, dial to make a phone call. But you dial like the letter and then you stamp it like a little gun. And like kind of like a pricing gun, I guess you could say, if you work in a store. And then it would emboss onto this little strip of plastic whatever you were writing. And then on the back, you would peel off, and it was like, you know, like a, you know,
It's how
sticker.
J&R Music used to do.
Right. Richard told us that he used to go to J&R Music World. Now, if you guys, I don't know how many of you remember, but J&R Music World was down on Park Road, down by the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge. And that's how they organized their vinyl records. So he took that as like a little wink and a nod from his time at J&R. He, you know, shopping there, and he used that Dymo label maker to organize his shop. And what an amazing treasure trove of electronic dance
They have
music.
a real cool way of operating a listening station with new vinyl.
Right, because, you know, guys, if you are into collecting vinyl or just like listening to vinyl, when you go into a vinyl record store and it's new vinyl, it's always sealed in shrink wrap. I mean, just like, you know, we're going to have books for sale at the event, and they're, like, when they come from the publisher, they're sealed in shrink wrap too. Like, we took the shrink wrap off of that. You know, so it stays, like, nice, and then it doesn't get damaged in shipping and everything like that. It keeps it nicer that way. But the problem is that a new vinyl record, you can't listen to it because you can't just open it up and say, I'm going to listen to it on the turntable. If you open it, then, you know, you bought it, you know, essentially. You know, it's like you go into, you know, an antique shop, and if you're like James with his big backpack, I have to tell him, oh, watch out, you know, we're going to buy half the store where every time you spin around, you're going to knock down half of the items in here. But it's the same way with the vinyl record. It's sealed in plastic, so you can't listen to it. So Richard came up with an ingenious, I thought, solution. Is that you get a prepaid, like you buy a prepaid gift card. So like, you know, let's say it's $25, you put it on a gift card. And then you can use it towards the purchase of a vinyl record at the store, but that enables you to listen to the vinyl at the shop. So even if you don't get anything that day, you can come back and use it another day.
You kind of put your card in a little slot.
Right, so
and
you
it
just...
makes the turntable work.
Right, so I thought it was like a really cool way of like, you know, some people say, oh, well, like, why do you have to pay to listen to vinyl? Well, it's new vinyl. So, I mean, it's like, I think it's actually a really, really cool thing, but maybe people are, you know, misunderstanding it at all. But, you know, that's why I wanted to kind of explain to what he's got going there. But those 2 turntables in the back, not where he's standing, but to, you know, the left are the listening station turntables. So an amazing store, and Richard's super, super, super nice, and always happy to explain like what's playing, you know, in the store. We always tell people, if you're gonna go into a vinyl record store, don't go with your headphones on. Like, or if you want to leave them on, fine, just, you know, turn down the volume or turn it off so you can hear what's going, you know, playing in the store, because they're always playing music. And James and I can say we've discovered many, many albums, new artists, new genres, just by like, oh wow, what in the world was that playing on the turntable? Like, you can discover something new, you can make a new friend, because then you're going to say, it'll force you to actually talk to the owner or talk to whoever's, you know, manning the turntable at the time, whether it's just somebody working at the shop, and you'll say, hey, what is that you're playing? And maybe strike up a conversation, and you never know. You can make a lifelong friend that way. I mean, we certainly have.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, if you're into electronic dance music or just curious about what it is, check it out, East 10th Street. The next one, we're going to stay in the East Village, is Erggo. Now, Erggo Records is, again, was founded by Adrian Root in 2021. And Adrian is an amazing guy with a real knowledge of music, but I want to go back to the 2021. A lot of those stores that we felt we should include in this new book were opened in the last few years because there's been a resurgence of vinyl record stores, and we not only wanted to include like the long, standing historic kind of institutions that New York is known for, but also the new stores because they deserve a chance as well. I mean, James and I, as much as we hate when like a small mom and pop business closes, whether it's due to a rent increase or whether it's due to just the owner retiring, we're happy when a new small business, independently owned, takes over the space because it gives an opportunity for somebody else's dream to come true. Because like these small shops, they're often like, the owner's dream. Like they've saved everything to open their own shop, put their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and to do something that they love. And that's certainly the way with Adrian. Adrian actually worked at A1 Record Shop before opening his own store during the pandemic. He felt there was this need, this void, and just took a chance, found this lovely storefront, and it's on East 3rd Street. And if you know this block is like a huge musical, I can't even stress, like I'm choke up thinking about it because, it's East 2nd Street, sorry, not East 3rd. Thank you, James. I rarely make a mistake, but must be thinking of something else. It's 30 something. I think the number is, there's a 3. I think it's 32. It doesn't matter. You don't have to look it up.
32 East 2nd.
There's the 3.
Right off 2nd Avenue.
Right. It's between 2nd and 3rd Avenue, but closer to 2nd. It has a huge musical background because just down the street is a lovely garden called Albert's Garden. It's a community garden. And it's where photographer Roberta Bailey photographed the Ramones standing against a brick wall inside the garden that was used as the cover photo for the Ramones. Yeah, their first album. And not only that, the Ramones often hung out down the street because their producer lived down the block. So huge musical reference. So we were so happy when Adrian found this space because we're like, oh wow, it has this association with Ramones. He didn't even realize, he's not from New York City.
Yeah, he's younger.
Yeah. So we have to tell him, oh yeah, you have to get that album and sell it. It's, the cover was just down the street. So this, again, is a store that sells a wide array of music. Not only mostly used vinyl, secondhand vinyl, but also some reissues and new releases, especially in Adrian's love, which is kind of like, what would you say?
Experimental music?
Yeah, experimental music.
Noisecore?
Yeah, really, it's very interesting. We've gotten turned on to many new, in the experimental genre, things that we had never heard of before through Adrian. Again, if you go to the next slide. Tell your story.
That's Macaulay Culkin's Disco Ball.
Yeah. He used to live in
fans, you can go there.
He used to live in the neighborhood, and where he lived was having a estate sale, and they were selling it, and Adrian bought it. So. Is the interior of Erggo Records, and it's a small store. But I like to tell people, go inside because it has a lot of treasure. Not only do they have the dollar bins outside, but inside, along the bottom, like he here and here are like cheap, as he says, cheap disco, cheap electronic, cheap
Yeah,
rock.
there's gold in there.
And there's some definite gems in there. And really, the one wonderful thing about this shop, and this is true of many shops that are vinyl record stores, not only in New York City, but really, you know, everywhere you go, even abroad. When I was touching upon that they act as like community centers, a lot of them do a lot of like in-store events. And Generation Records for sure does a lot of in-store events because they have, it's a 2-level space and they have even a performance area with a stage downstairs. So they do not only like book signings, but you know, release parties when a new album comes out, but they, you know, have like little mini concerts there. We've seen a bunch of
Yeah, Vinny Stigma.
yeah, we sing from and Agnostic Front, you
Yep.
know. Yeah, really cool performances there. But Adrian, uniquely, because he has a small space, he has, you know, there's the bins there, the crates, the milk crates that aren't, you know,
The shelves, they're on wheels.
they're not on wheels, but the center aisle is all on wheels. So what he does is, for in-store performances, and he's had different artists come by and you know, do live performances, he pushes it out of the way so that way there'll be more space in the store. So he's really like giving back to the community by, you know, not only promoting like his love of music, but just giving back to local artists, like giving them a space, like, okay, if you have a new, you know, you're not even signed to a label and you just want to have a little performance, you're more than welcome to have it here in the shop. So please go in and, you know, don't be afraid to talk to Adrian and, you know, tell him what, if you're a musician yourself and, you know, want to do something, even he's even have poetry readings and stuff like that there as well. Super nice store and really nice shop.
Really mellow.
Yeah. So next one. Now we're back to Greenwich Village, and this is Record Runner, and Record Runner is on Jones Street. And I always call this another like kind of hidden in plain sight treasure, because you might not ever have been down Jones Street because it's a tiny street. It runs between West Fork and Bleecker. And a lot of tourists, like, they'll come to the city and they might go to Greenwich Village. They might actually make it out of Times Square and go to Greenwich Village, but they might not go on the little side streets. They'll stay on Bleecker Street because, like, that's a major, you know, thoroughfare, and it has like a lot of places to eat and shop and things like that, and it's great, but they may never discover Record Runner. But I'll tell you how it's been discovered by many people. People go to Jones Street who are Bob Dylan fans because Bob Dylan shot, well, he didn't shoot, but there's a famous photo of Bob Dylan with his then girlfriend at the time, Suze Rotolo, walking down Jones Street, and it was used as a cover photo for a Freewheelin' Bob Dylan album. And basically standing right in front of where this shop is. So if he was in the street on Jones Street, but literally right in front of the shop. So sometimes people will just turn around and they'll be like, oh, wait. And then there's the
photos. He always keeps the albums in the window.
Right. There's the album right there in the window. So, however, that's not what the store is about. The store is not like a shrine to Bob Dylan. If you go to the next slide, what it's known for is its amazing and extensive collection of 80s and 90s music, and with a special concentration on like Duran Duran, Erasure, you know,
Yeah, Madonna.
just, but then, you know, a lot of other pop as well. But they were it's been in business. It's the oldest record store in business in Manhattan today. It's been in business since 1979. It was founded by John Peta, and he used to be, I think he used to be on Cornelia Street originally, but then moved to this location a few years later. And he was actually the first record store in the U.S. to like really promote Duran Duran. He took, he started selling their record, and they came to the United States and with their producer, and they did like an in-store event at this tiny shop. And it kind of put them on the map as like the place to go get music by Duran Duran when like people, got to know who they were. Because at first, like no one really knew who they were. And then he started collecting more and more of like that, 80s and 90s music. And now you see, kind of floor to ceiling, he even has posters, memorabilia. He sells that as well. Super, super well organized, but it's a really small, narrow shop. And when we spoke to John, we said, how are things going? Like this was, probably about a dozen years ago, like 12 years ago. We're like, oh, how things are going? The bunch of the record stores on Bleecker Street nearby have closed down. And he's like, you know what? I'm not worried. And I said, well, why, John? He's like, well, vinyl is back. And it's not you guys, meaning like our age group, that's shopping for vinyl now. It's young kids. And John Peter was smart because not only did he keep his concentration of 80s and 90s music and, classic rock that he stocks as well, and the Bob Dylan, of course, but he started bringing in new record store day releases and embracing a lot of the albums that the young kids wanted now, because vinyl is now collected by teenagers and the 20-something group. And he was one of the first shops to really participate in this record store day event. If you're not familiar with what record store day is, it's something that the record store community has come up with, and we actually video conference with one of the co-founders of Record Store Day, Carrie Carlton. She's super, super, super nice and supportive of our book project as well, to just help promote the vinyl community, support indie record stores by having musicians that are going to be recording a new album have special releases that will only be sold at an independently owned record store. So meaning that you can't go buy the album at, from Amazon or from, that's right, like one of the, online resellers or, one of the major chain places. So these are only special record store day releases. And John started stocking them. I mean, there's other, record stores in this book that do the record store day releases. I mean, Generation Records too.
But people swarm to his store on record store day?
Right.
And he doesn't let anybody in the store. He stands in the doorway. And he's like, what do you want?
Right. He has to stand outside the store.
You have to know what you want.
And then maybe 2 or 3 people can come in at a time to browse. But
he doesn't
not
let
only
anybody browse on those.
Right. Not the throngs of people that come on record store day, because there are a limited number of releases, and each store can only purchase a certain amount too. Like maybe they only get 2 copies, or whether it's 10 copies. It depends on the shop and how long they've had a relationship with the record store day people. But it's not like one place can just hog up everything. So there, you have to wait in line and get there early. But he has a great stock of record store day releases. And what a nice guy, and so knowledgeable about music in general, and always welcoming to the people that congregate outside to check out Jones Street because of the Bob Dylan Association. He's told us many times there'll be people hanging out, and he'll, if no one's in the shop, he'll go outside and he'll just be like, hi, how are you? Are you a Bob Dylan fan? Are you familiar with, the genre, and he'll talk about the good old days and what was going on in the village, because he grew up in the village, so he knows it, himself. He went to school in the neighborhood, and just a wonderful guy, and super, super fantastic store, a true hidden gem. So next slide. Now I'm going to talk about Academy Music. Now Academy Music, we mentioned it in the beginning of the talk, that the reason that we did the 33 1/3 record stores is we got the 1/3 is for the Academy Records Annex. This is their main location, and it's on East 12th Street. between First Avenue and Avenue A. It's closer to First Avenue than Avenue A. And it looks like a tiny store from the outside, but it actually goes pretty deep. And, oh no, don't show the outside yet, go back. There's always like little dollar bins, $2 sometimes, outside. And this, because again, we live so close, I think this is one of the places that we probably go to more than once a week. And
It's a problem.
right, you could say that because we have a studio apartment, so we have to keep our vinyl selection. You know, we just can't go crazy. That's just, there will be no room for us and our poor dog anymore if we keep on buying more and more vinyl. But they always have the dollar bins outside. But if you go inside, this is our opening photo. How we organize this book is we have an exterior photo and then the writing about the store, which is written by Hattie Linder. She's the person who did the, you know, like all the interviews with the store owners and just wrote like what each one's about. That's opposite the exterior photo. And then the very next spread will be that 2-page spread. And it kind of shows you like what the record store is all about. So even if you've never been to the shop, you'll have an idea by looking at the photo, like, okay, I'm standing there and this is how it looks. And there's an interesting story with this photo because we're standing like pretty much, you enter into the door and this is like, that's where we stood to take this photo. And you can see the store was open for business. There's 2 people there shopping for records. We're standing there in the doorway, we're getting this overview shot. And then we continue taking some more photos. There's a big jazz section here. First of all, I should talk about Academy Records. I'm digressing. Academy Records sells both new and used vinyl, secondhand or used. I would say probably, what would you say? Maybe 60-40 or something like that?
70-30?
Yeah.
70 used, 30 new?
Something like that. You know, a good amount of new, but a good amount of used as well. In a lot of different genres. They have an amazing jazz section, which is on the wall that you can't see in this photo, but it's in our book. You know, a lot of Blue Note recordings. But they also have rock, electronic, dance, good hip-hop section, everything's super well organized. And again, these are the walls of fame. So what you see, like there, behind the register, a lot of 45s, they have a great 45 selection as well. It's a little bit of everything at this shop. So we're standing there, and we took this photo, and then we went and took a photo of the jazz wall, and I think we took a little photo in the back, in that little corner over there. And then we started moving into the shop, because there's the listening station back there. We wanted to take a photo by the listening station. And as you see, there's a guy in a black hoodie and a black down vest. And as we made our way in the store and we're taking more photos, he was at the listening station. And so we approached the listening station.
Sure.
Yes, show them the photo. And we're like, oh my God, it's Large Professor. Now, Large Professor, if you're not into hip-hop, you might not know, but he's not only a DJ, but he's also a producer. He worked with Nas for Illmatic, and we recognized him immediately, and we were blown away. We're like, oh my God. I'm like, wow, we'd love to take listen to James. That would be amazing to get a photo of him. He was listening, to his vinyl that he had selected. And I waited for him to finish, and then I tapped him, and he took off his headphones. He's like, oh, I know you guys, you're James and Karla, I follow you on Instagram. And we're like, oh my God, we felt so, excited and honored that he recognized us. And we told him what we were doing, that we were working on this project of documenting the vinyl record stores for an upcoming book. And this was actually the very first store that we photographed. Again, we live nearby, so that's why we probably chose it first, because it was, just a short walk from our apartment. But we said, we would be honored if we could take your photo and include it in our book. And he's like, absolutely. He's like, what do you need me to do? And I was like, you don't need to do anything. Just continue doing what you're doing. You have another record that you want to listen to at the listening station. And if you could just not move for a second while we take the photo. He obliged, and that's it. We did one photo, done. And we left him alone, and we moved on. And that kind of put like a little light bulb in our head that, okay, maybe we can get some other artists and be lucky enough, and to include like little artist profiles in the book. So that's what.
Scattered throughout the book.
So there are some artist profiles as well, and there's one about Large Professor, and that's just like another thing that I always like to tell people. You never know who you're going to meet when you walk into a vinyl record store. I mean, I touched upon that with A1 Records, that a lot of famous musicians go there. I mean, Questlove, he was just in there the other day. He happened to buy 5 of our books. He said that, because they're selling them as well, he's going to give them, to friends as gifts. But RZA,
Neil Young, I ran into.
yes. Mobb Deep, yeah, you name it, but also at Academy Records too. A lot of famous musicians. Large Professors also shops at A1 as well. I mean, as well as some other shops in our book as well too, in Brooklyn and beyond. But we always encourage you to keep your eyes open, because you never know, you might meet somebody. I mean, we're always like, we're the quintessential village people. Like, we don't when we recognize someone, we don't bother them. We like to say, let them be their own person and not. But in this case, we had to bother him, and it just worked out beautifully. So that's our little story of you never know who you're going to run into. Do we have time for one more? Because I want to leave time for questions and answers. This is Village Revival Records, and this is another lovely gem of a store, 197 Bleecker Street. It's right near Thompson, and then 6th Avenue would be the other, the cross streets on Bleecker Street.
Puerto Rico Coffee.
Right next door to Puerto Rico Coffee, which is included in our storefront NYC book. Lovely mom and pop coffee shop. If you've never gone there, amazing coffee and tea. They roast it. They used to roast I think they roast some of them in the back of the shop, but most of the roasting is done in their Brooklyn location now because of pollution laws. But I digress. Village Revival Records, owned by Jamal Al Nassar, and I think it was founded 94. Thank you, James, for checking that out for me. I knew it was earlier 90s. And an amazing, amazing collection of not only new vinyl, but used vinyl, 45, 78, yes, they have still 78s inside the shop, as well as CDs, cassettes. It looks small from the outside, but nope, it goes way deep. And even in the back, there's an extra, it's kind of like almost a long L shape, so there's another little area off to the right. Yeah, well, to the right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, to their right, your left.
Yeah.
And Jamal, again, super knowledgeable about music. He's an immigrant. He came here to the United States, and he taught himself not only the language, but also everything about music. He himself is a huge Rolling Stone collector. And I want to tell you, if you go inside the shop, don't be afraid to ask Jamal to see his personal vault. Because back behind the register, he has a little room where he keeps some of his personal collection. And sometimes he's willing to sell some of them, but he has some real great treasures. And don't be thrown off by the kind of seemingly disorganization, because everything is super well organized, but there's always lots of boxes around and stuff, because he's constantly getting in not only buying people's used vinyl collections, but new vinyls and records as well. And he's another person that participates heavily in the record store day event. I mean, I would say out of all the record stores in New York City, I think he's probably the one that like, where no matter what kind of vinyl music you like to listen to, you're gonna find the record store day release at his store, because he orders at least one of everything, whether it's jazz, hip hop, punk, rock, country. I mean, you name it, he's got it at his shop. And again, a place where unlikely there's a lot of, you would say, oh, who shops in there? Probably nobody famous. Au contraire, a lot of famous people have shopped in there, and then he's personally become friends with, including Lana Del Rey, who was a student at the time, so she was undiscovered, and she came into the shop, and they became quick friends. And if you go inside, go to the back by the register, look down below, there's her signed 2012 album is signed for Jamal with love, something, love, keeping it real or something like that, it says. But Bella Hadid, he's befriended shopping there. And we met, actually, the producer for Blondie, Chris Stein and Debbie Harry's producer,
Steve Rosenthal.
Steve Rosenthal there. We were actually buying for Record Store Day 45.
7-inch of Blondie Sunday Girl.
Right, and
The release.
we had just bought it, and we were outside talking to Jamal, and we said, thank you, because we had gotten the last copy. And Steve Rosenthal walks up, and he sees it in her hand, and he's like, oh, I want to get that. And Jamal's like, sorry, I don't have any more. And he's like, I don't even have this. We didn't. And so we started this a nice conversation with him. And
it's like gatefold packaging. They do like really nice stuff for record store day.
Yeah, it's like, it's a little bit pricier than your regular releases, but they are limited edition. So if you're into collecting, they're great. I mean, for us, we devalue everything that we buy because we open it right away. So when there is a record store day release, or like we bought a secondhand vinyl that's sealed, because we do collect particular artists, we immediately devalue it because we open it and we listen to it. That's us. I mean, some collectors, they buy 2 copies, one to listen to, one to keep sealed. Or framed, and they put it up on their wall. I mean, that's just not us. And to each his own. We like to listen to it, and we realize that it's not worth as much then. But that's not what's important to us. We do it for our enjoyment. So guys, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna open up to some questions. But before I do, first I want to thank Village Alliance, GVSHP, for this opportunity to be able to speak to you tonight about our Vinyl NYC book. And I want to encourage you guys to all go out to your local vinyl record store and help support them, because the very reason we put this book together is we wanted to give back to the vinyl community that meant so much to us over the years, but also kind of raise awareness of their importance, because you can't always assume that they're going to be around forever. They all need your support, even ones that you think are doing really, really well. Like we included Rough Trade in here, and they're Rockefeller Center, like they must be doing okay. They must pay a fortune in rent, but don't always assume that they, that they're making a profit margin. I mean, I know for sure that Jamal has suffered a lot. He had a leak in his store. You could see there was you could see kind of like there was somebody had left their water on in an apartment above, and thousands of dollars of records, and then plus during the pandemic, not being able to open and having to pay the rent, and the list goes on and on. But please support your local record store. Take off your headphones when you go inside so you can listen to the music, maybe discover something new for yourself, make a new friend, maybe even see a celebrity, just
Get
look
out
at.
from behind your computer and embrace physical media.
Exactly.
Books we love, obviously, we love records, we do film cameras still. We have typewriters.
Yeah, we're all. I got my turntable. We're all analog for sure. So as much as we love digital, we're analog at heart. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. And we're gonna open up some Q&A right now. So does anybody have any questions? Feel free, or want to share something?
When is Record Store Day?
Well, the big record store day always happened, I don't remember the exact date in April, I think it depends on like what day of the week that it will fall. It will always be a Saturday. I think it's is it the first or the second Saturday? It's always in April, the main one, but then they have a neck of the record store day, which is the Saturday after Black Friday. So whatever day Black Friday is, you know, depending on the year, like how Thanksgiving falls, then
They
the
publish
Saturday.
on the internet, sorry.
Yeah, they
the
publish.
list of artists that are releasing
Yeah.
and what they're gonna release.
Right, they'll
So it's
have.
best to know what you want when you go there and say, oh, you know, I'm into Ramones, I want the,
Right, or like in the case of a small shop like Record Runner, you know, you can go in to John ahead of time and you can tell him, listen, I'm looking for this record store day
he'll put it
release.
aside for
He
you.
will, if you prepay for it, he will put it aside for you. I know that for a fact.
like he sees us coming, he's waving around
Yeah, we've done that.
over the crowd, he's like, I got it.
We've done that with him because we
We're like,
know.
oh, we'll come back tomorrow, John.
Yeah,
He's
well,
like,
like,
oh, thank God.
yeah, we don't have to take it now, you already got we already paid you, just keep it and, you know, deal with
Yeah,
it.
because he gets like all,
Yeah, you know, we don't want to get him,
Flustered,
yeah, like, you know, all too much.
it's like crowds of people.
But, yeah, that's the main record store day where the big releases are always going to be in that April, but then they have the second for the, you know, kind of like, which is corresponds to Small Business Saturday as well, so kind of like goes hand in hand. But there are other releases that will come periodically during the year, but that's the record store day ones. But they do work for other artists, you know, during the year for special releases. Yes, yes.
Have there been any new record stores?
Yes, I mean, like I
Really
said, in our book, we included ones that opened in the last couple of years, including one that we just touched upon. I mean, actually two. Manhattan 45 was opened in 2020, and then Erggo 2021.
Paradise a Replica.
There's another one in here, Paradise of Replica, which also opened. I think that also is 2020, either 2020 or 2021. But yeah, we have a couple of stores that. One, sadly, when we photographed it in 2024, was only in business 1 year. When it hadn't even been a year when we took the photos. That's Billy's Record Salon in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. But sadly, that is one of the stores that is no longer in business that's in our book, and that's not because of a rent increase. It's very tragic. Billy,
Yeah, the young owner passed away.
he passed away and got brain cancer, and like within a few months, I mean, just
Yeah, it was a beautiful shop.
he passed away.
He used an old beautician sign,
Yeah.
so it said Billy's Hair
Yeah,
Cutters.
it's upsetting even to talk about because it was
Yeah.
just so sudden, and he was just so full of life,
And he
just
specialized in jazz.
yeah, just really a love for music, and he was also a promoter. He owned Babies All Right, like if you're into the club scene in Brooklyn. He had his hand in a couple little different clubs, but yeah, very, 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 very tragic. But yeah, there's new record stores that even have opened since our book has come out, and we just got a direct message through Instagram, guys. If you don't follow us, I'll do a little shout out. We're at JamesandKarla, so it's JamesandKarla on Instagram. We always put up, especially like anything new that comes out. We got a message that a new vinyl record store is going to be opening in Brooklyn, and they're still working on it, but we hope to go there and showcase it, even before it officially opens to the public, and we're going to just help them get the word out as well. So we're always happy to do that. I mean, really our books and our social media is our way of just giving giving back, you know, to the community and to the mom and pop stores, which make each neighborhood, especially, you know, our love for East Village and Greenwich Village, but really every neighborhood in very unique and vibrant community that it is.
Like, why do you think there's a resurgence in vinyl for the younger generation?
I think that there is now like a newfound appreciation to maybe take a step back from technology and connect, you know, and, you know, not be so rushed all the time. For us,
Yeah.
for James and I mean, we have like this whole thing, like when we listen to a vinyl record, when we get like a new, especially when we get something new, whether it's used or, you know, whether it's a new release, we kind of have, I won't go into the whole process, you can read about it in the introduction, but we have a whole thing where we set aside the time and we just, that's it, like no looking at the computer, no answering the phone, like just everything off, and your sole concentration is on the music, and it's very relaxing. And I think, honestly, I mean, I don't know, because I grew up with vinyl records, and so did James.
I think it's the larger format lets you appreciate like the artwork, and especially the photography, and typography of the work.
Right, I mean, I can say for
the
sure.
Sound, I mean, the sound is all over the map. Like we have some vinyl that sounds okay, and you're like, oh, you're kind of disappointed. But then me and Karla collect like late 80s, early 90s house music, dance music, disco, and the production values then were stunning. I mean, not a vinyl record, if you really want, you know, you put on something like Odyssey's Native New Yorker and it just sounds amazing. I mean, just really different than any CD you have, like it could be on a compilation or anything like that. So the sound is hit or miss.
Right, and it depends upon like your setup, because we realize that some turntables that you buy now, they're not truly like analog, like they're like you don't have to have like we have like
we have a period specific, you know, dead on 2-channel.
Right, we have an old school setup, so we don't have like the preamp, like, you know, we don't like we don't have a turntable that has a built-in preamp and things like that. Like I won't go into the technical aspects of it, but you can make it very simple or you can make it very complicated.
Exactly.
But I think there's an appreciation now to just step back from things. I mean, I don't know, what do you have a thought on it? You're young yourself, so.
Well, 16, so junior year of high school, and yeah, I grew up with it, sort of. I also don't have a record player with a preamp. Some actually have Bluetooth now.
Right.
Which,
I always had a love for it, thanks to my father, which was probably around your age. And then, so I could say, you know, to give back thanks to your generation, but also I agree with the arts, the photography, the sound system, the also just general cool factor.
You know, it's something you can hold in your hand. It has a physical presence, and it's something. I mean, James and I can say that we have truly purchased some vinyl solely based on the artwork.
yeah, that's right.
On the album. I mean, that's generally me. I'll be like, "Ooh, what is that?" And then I turn it over. No, or it's just like a really cool font or something like that, because James and I are really into looking at fonts. You know, typography is very big for us. But yeah, I think it's just that you know, it's great to hear that you know that your father you know inspired you to listen, because that's what we hope. I mean, as much as we like to say, oh, it's great that people like James and I are still shopping at vinyl record stores, it's all the young generation. Like that's what we have to rely on, because then they in turn can teach and pass it to their kids, the love for vinyl and the appreciation for vinyl, because really a record can last forever, really, if you take care of it.
It does wear down, but
yeah, right, depending on how much you
I still
play
have
it.
my 78, you know,
Yeah,
Springsteen.
and it you know, it has a couple of pops here and there, but it still sounds pretty good, you know, for what it is.
Well, let's give James and Karla